Right? Chef with wind wall. Good for facing bosses, but not for climbing the tower right now. I would rather go with combat rule. We'll try it. We'll try it. By the way, I realized something. I made this tower 50% taller. I made the tower 50% taller on myself. That's gonna suck. Let's see. Who could I use to help myself climb the tower? Because, yeah, that chef will be nice once I get to the top. But, let's see. I might honestly grab Ranger. I'll try Bard. Does the Bard want Wind Wall? I mean, sure. We'll try Bard. Try Bard with Wind Wall. See how that fares out next time. But yeah, I'm also curious, like this sort of non-speedrun material, it's really hard to know whether or not it's something that people enjoy, because obviously, like, speedrun material, I could just pop, you know, I could just take a speedrun, submit it as a video, and it's very easy to do. Here it's like, you don't want to watch not everyone wants to watch 4 hours of me just playing around in the game. So it's like, this is one of those things where it's like, I need to know, like, I would like some advice, if like anyone has, in what ways they like watching this material, I could use that information. Oof. It would make sense that the inside didn't work on the ads if the ads did less damage than the boss. Fair point. I mean, I'm glad that they made sure the bosses have higher health and lower damage output, but yeah, it's a little ridiculous sometimes, just how low they make the damage output. It's actually safer for me to go through here right now, because remember, we are in an area where traps, because of my feeds, deal more damage than actual enemy attacks. There we are. Just do that. Don't want to deal with him. Alright, this goes going up. Ooh. Alright, we're just gonna refresh this. Go back out. I think the mini bosses are pretty hard. I only beat them with Ranger, actually. Well, I'm impressed that you did it with Ranger. Lambo Droid, I could personally just watch hours of someone roaming. Good to know, good to know. And how's it going, Hater Elite? Glad to have you here, man. Glad to have you here. I enjoy watching this content because it's a game I've never heard of before, and I think it looks interesting, so I just keep continuing to watch. Awesome, glad to hear it. Yeah, so So I guess I should tell you the lore a bit, because Rogue Legacy 1 came out in, what was it, 2012, 2013? It is now a pretty old game, and the notable thing about it is it's basically the game that encouraged other games to start trying out the roguelike genre. They were not the best at it. No, there were problems with Rogue Legacy, we will not deny that. But it was the first one in a very long time. So, oof. If you want to split it into videos, maybe do like 2 to 3 errors per video. So yeah, what I did is I just made it so that if there was an error, that one error did super good. Like the chef yesterday. The chef that went super long, I made that video. And of course my first fight with the 2 new and improved estuaries, I of course made that its own video. Took 500 damage for 400 health. Meat. I'd say worth, but we all know. We all know. Thank you so much, Apple. I appreciate it. Ooh. Found some sun lantern. Found the sun lantern right after killing Lamech, so I still have no idea the conditions of that showing up. I mean, it seems like the condition is kill Lamech. That was obviously a joke. Don't take that seriously. Yeah. Yeah, I think when people play this game as, like, actually playing it, it will not be an issue simply because people are not going to find the Sun Lantern until they've beaten the game once. So... like, this bug that we're facing, fortunately, is a bug that's just something we are facing. Hey, let's get a fairy chest. Why not? Alright, now to get out. Don't know how I'm going to do that. Well, I found a way out. It wasn't the best way out, but it was a way out technically. Oof. Well, we now have the top, so I can now lock down the castle if I'm having trouble here. Oof. I don't know why, but this game gives me slight Castle Crasher vibes. I can't explain why. The simple characters that are just, like, fun to look at, I guess. That might be a theme. Like, there is an art style to that, and I could see, in that sense, both games are going for a similar vibe. Also, of course, Knight's going through an adventure that you wouldn't exactly call knightly, but very heroic nonetheless. Ooh. Realized the attack he was doing a little late, but I managed to still react in time. There we go. By the way, they changed Puritan on this boss at least. It makes a huger area pixelated. That sounds terrifying. So you can't even see yourself if you're standing next to the eye. Sorry if you talked about it yesterday, but what are your thoughts on the two new classes? Not a worry. I do like talking about these feeds. This is one of my feeds is if it's I like Ask Me Anythings and analysis, and that's analysis. I perfectly love talking about that. So, Ronin, I feel like... So, hold up. I haven't listened to this conversation yet. The sun is up. Thank you for that. Okay. Ronin, I think that there's, like... The Ronin's almost a great class. There's... I don't know what it is. There's just something missing in the Ronin that's making it not really, there's something missing with the Ronin that's preventing me from really using that class effectively, I feel. Like, it has, obviously the range is fantastic, but if you wanted range alone, there's, you know, Ranger. So, it's like, that class is so close to being good. Like, I wouldn't know how to buff it without breaking it, but it's like, there's something missing to it. As for a Bard, that is a class where I think as I get used to it, it's going to be extremely powerful. Just seeing how much damage the effect does is amazing. I have to actually use the effect. The fact that you have to basically set up beforehand with that means that's going to be very hard to use. I think most players will not be able to use the Bard very effectively. But I think for the people who can use Bard, it's going to be very fun and extremely powerful. Like, I think they overpowered it intentionally to make up for the fact that people don't know how to use it and probably won't know how to use it. A reward for learning the really complex class. So, I personally really love the Ronin. Good range and good knockback. Glad to hear. Maybe I'm just messing something up. Definitely the great range is fantastic. Actually, you know, now that I think about it, I used it pretty well to, like, shark through the ground and do some pretty devastating feats. So, I could definitely see, with just a little more time practicing it, getting really good with the Ronin. And the Ronin's probably is in a good spot. It just felt really weird because it's a new class. It's one of those things that I'm gonna, like, it feels bad right now, but might just be inexperience talking. And I'll have to play a little bit more with it. And I haven't had that time to play with it more. I'm trying to hit the skeletons behind. There we are. Alright. This is going to make it a lot easier. Didn't say I'd make it easy, just easier. There we are. I really want that iron ore. Already have that mastery for Ronin maxed out to 25. Glad to hear. Like, yeah, the talent is lackluster. Exactly. Like, the weapon seems great, but I feel like the weapon and talent are not... The talent feels like bad duelist role. Like, just straight up bad duelist role. So I need to tell this story. So back in Far Shores, I actually suggested a... I just was calling it the Hokage, because that's what it was back in the original game. But I was like super hyped for the Ronin, because the attack that they used was very similar to my style, much thinner in their version, but you're able to angle it. And the teleport they use is also very similar. But here's the difference. In their version, one, as I said, the sword is much like thinner and much longer. And the thing about the Ronin is... Originally, the idea I had it was instead of the heavy stone bargain, like it would have, like the heavy stone bargain, it would be heavy damage, but have a 2-second cooldown. But what would happen is you would have that teleport, which it's the special ability of the teleport wasn't that it deals damage. The special ability is it refreshes your weapon cooldown, and then your weapon has the special ability. Then the talent doesn't refresh after 2 seconds; it refreshes whenever you hit a target. So basically, the teleport and the attack had to like keep sinking back into each other. Where you would teleport to refresh your attack, you would attack to refresh your teleport, and you'd have to like constantly work together and get those two systems working. So it was like, if you could keep hitting your hits, it was just a super heavy, large area of effect, destructive powerhouse. But if you miss, then you have to wait 2 seconds for, you know, the sword to come back. And you don't have your talent during that time. So it was like one of those things of... I thought it was a really cool idea. Definitely has a level of expertise necessary, but... like, I thought it was a great idea. Definitely the issue that people brought up when I brought it up is it was too close to the duelist. Because the duelist had just come out, and they're like, what makes their talents different from the duelist? And I couldn't think of an answer. Other than what I explained to you there. Where... not exactly it's different in how it synergizes, not in how it plays. And that was the main issue. But yeah, if with this new weapon, if they change the Ronin to be that style that I was talking about, like, maybe it ends up playing poorly and I don't realize it because, you know, I haven't had a chance to play it. But I'd be hopeful. So I'm hopeful for the Ronin. It feels a lot like the Duelist in how it has everything it needs, but something's off. And it's like, I don't know how to give it something because without breaking it, but I also think it needs something. So maybe like the Duelist, it's just like a little slice of life theme. Like really all that they did with the Duelist is they changed the width of the blade to be a little taller. Like this used to be like so hyper thin you couldn't hit your target sometimes. So they increased the width of the blade. And that was really all they did with the Duelist, so maybe that's it. Whoop. Ah. Oh boy, here comes the elites. Let's hope they're easy elites. That's an easy elite, but still this one up here. Awesome. So all I have to do is keep my distance when it attacks. There we go. Alright, let's get the bottom safe and secure. Go. Oof. But yeah. So Ronin, like, just like the Duelist, it's like, I feel like there's a tiny little slice of life feed that once it's added, it's going to be a fantastic class. And like, if you love it, awesome. I'm glad you love it. Like, if it's already a fantastic class, that's already a fantastic class. I just have to get used to it. So what I'm doing right now, in case people are wondering, I'm looking for meats and resources so that I can get to full health before I enter the last area. And if I can't get to full health, then I'll just get a bunch of money and such, because like I'm getting good resources just going through the starter area. We already got some iron from a challenge room. Like, we are still just like good things are happy despite how limited our movement through this area is. Yeah, and the close range shotgun effect of that is still good even if they reduce the damage. Bard you think is good, but not for you because you can't make it work well. Yep. That's the thing, like, I don't think there's many people who can make it work well off the bat. It's definitely a class you need to learn. They say it was the most complicated. I think it, like, when I was dealing with its damage output, it seemed super strong. Like, if I could just get used to it and make it work. Like, I'm sure there's, like, some setup that someone, like, us speedrunners could probably lab a setup with the Bard, where it's like, alright, you get the two Fiends in this position here, and you could basically kick, dash, kick, dash, kick, dash, and basically constantly explode with musical notes and just like deal immense damage to bosses. So I think the Bard has all the power it needs. It's just like it takes someone to unlock that power, you know? Ooh. What was the game that I was thinking of? There's a character somewhere in one of the Smash Bros. I'm not sure if it's Melee, and I'm thinking about Fox, or if it's from a new game and there was a DLC character that that's not on my head. But there was one character that they were talking about, like, if you could figure out, if you can, like, lab it all out, it was obviously, like, everyone would say, this is obviously the best character in the game, if you can get it to work, basically. And I don't think anyone ever got to work. It might have been Hero, because they decided that Hero has all those options, but you have to, like, manage it through randomness. So they thought Hero was one of the best characters in the game, and now he's just, like, high mid-tiers, I think, or he's bottom of high tier. That was it. That's what most people have been saying. What are you doing in the game now? I only kept up to that Estuary boss. Well, so I just finished that Estuary boss. I head back to the starting area to get some resources. So I'm collecting, basically economy. And right now we're doing some mini-boss fights to gain said economy. Well, by the way, I should note that I was at full health, like I said I was actually getting. And then I just went in here, and now I'm not at full health. Because that's what mini-bosses do to you. They make you go from full health to not full health. That is their task. They have one job in life. It's that. There we are. Well, now I have a lot more health to try to recover. That is unfortunate, but also fine, because now we got all this iron. Like myself some iron. Ooh. Yeah, no, feel free to ask the question. It's good to probably reference for, like, if people have watching this, if people really enjoy this while watching on YouTube, it's good as a reference for other people to know what's going on, should they, like you, pop in and out. Ooh. Or if I pop in and out because, like, I try to cut out something. I don't know, I'm not much of an editor. Like, it's one of those things of, if I... It's probably a really bad habit of mine that I need to fix, but... Like, a lot of the speedrun videos, I don't really need to edit. People want to watch the entire run from start to finish. So it's like... I don't really need editing skills at all. But at the same time, I lack editing skills because of that. I might... You know, that's probably something I need to just start working on. Just start making videos that require editing to get myself more accustomed to editing software and the like. Because I don't... Like, I know very, very basic editing skills. But my videos do not need editing, so I don't have any more than the very basics. So... Ooh. So yeah, maybe just making, like, even if they don't get many views, or they're, like, of topics that people don't care about, just making videos that require editing skills. If nothing else, I can make, you know what, I can make, I think I can make a kind of, how do I explain it? A draft guide for people that, for, like, the parts that you don't, that people don't really talk about in drafts, where it's like, most people tell you, oh yeah, here's the best cards, here's how to do bread, here's how this format is, or like what will happen is one of the major themes, is they'll say, here are the best cards of the format, and they're so confident that they'll make those videos off to what is the best card and stuff before the format is released, before they've actually had a chance to play it themselves. And like, there's usually a lot of things that stay constant, so that ends up being very close. Yeah, editing doesn't sound fun to me. It's not, and that's one of the big themes. But if I want to do this, if I want to be serious about this, I gotta start editing. But basically, one of the things is there's a lot of mechanics to how drafting works that makes it so you could enter any draft format and get a okay sense of what's going on, and like still get like, oh, this is even if this isn't the best card, you can say it's the top 3 and you'll actually be correct a lot of the time because it follows certain fundamental processes. But what happens is it's like, then they get it wrong, or the theme just doesn't fit in the format, and they still have that video around, and like, why would they go around updating that video? Like, they have other things to do, the next set is coming out. So my idea is I would just make a video basically about the cards that didn't pan out, the themes in this format that I noticed that we didn't notice before the theme, like how Daybound and Nightbound worked in this format, how it's not as much as an imposing threat as I thought, but it's something you have to consider. The fact is it will eventually become night, and you either need a plan for that, or you need to take them out before the game goes long enough to make it into night. The black is just overpowered because Morbid, to the point where Morbid Opportunist gets splashed for. Even, like, if you're, like, I've played a blue-green deck. I watched someone do this, and, like, I thought they were correct in it, which is one of those sad things of, this is the correct move. They were playing a blue-green deck, and they realized they hit, how do I say this? They were playing a blue-green deck. They, in their final pack, pulled a Morbid Opportunist, and so the correct solution was to pick the Morbid Opportunist, splash black for that one card that just randomly showed up. And because Morbid Opportunist is just that good. Alright, we need to get the Pearl Key, and we need to get the Black Key. Alright, next gone is below us. They're all below us. I ran through here so fast during the speedrun, I actually do not know much about these enemies. Other than there's an enemy that shoots projectiles that explode. And there's another one that shoots poison projectiles that do a similar theme. I don't think those projectiles are resonant. And the fact that I had to state that, it's probably all the statement you need to understand that. I didn't spend much time here. What? The blobfish happened to have projectiles that made it all the way through. Well, I'm okay dying here. I made it here anyways. This means that we can start here next time. I do want that treasure chest though. And the warg is very adamant in making sure that doesn't happen. Whew. I should have died there, by the way. Every calculation I have says I was dead. But I lived. Alright, blobfish, there you are. Woo. That was a new move. I did not expect him to slam down. So, in case you're wondering that last one, the blobfish stayed in the air, spun around, and dropped on me. And I was not expecting it to do a maneuver like that, because... So, upgraded versions of classes have additional attacks. That was my first time seeing that attack. So I'm like, oh, with this blobfish attack, you just actually get close to the blobfish after it lands. And that's how you avoid it. Well, that one, get close to the blobfish after it lands, is exactly where it wants you to be. Now I know. Now I know.